Abaji Yafi is here with the business news. Good evening to you, Emmanuel. So I was just picking up from the headlines. Well, there's some anxiety regarding the
upcoming
elections, and it's affecting inflation
rate. It's gone up marginally from 16.9. It's now 17.2%, 0.3%.
And there's the likelihood that it's going to keep going up.
Obviously, I mean, in an election year, things move faster. Prices rise, above normal rates. So we should expect the inflation rate to soar.
All right, we're waiting to hear the details.
Thank you very much, and thanks for joining me on Business. Speculations over dwindling exchange rates of the Ghana cedi and the December election uncertainty have pushed September inflation to 17.2%. This was announced by government statistician Dr. Philomena Nyarko at a press conference in Accra. In an interview later with Joy Business, Dr. Nyarko disclosed that these were mere speculations from consumers.
The imported items, the inflation rate of imported items moved from 17.3% in August 2016 to 18.7% in September 2016. So it means we have a change rate of 1.4 percentage points. Because, the non-food accounts for 56% of the weight. And the food accounts for 43.9%, which means that if the non-food inflation goes up, it affects the inflation rate much more. The food inflation rate went up because of base drift effect, but in reality, the food inflation. In reality, the month-on-month change in food inflation was negative 2.4%. That means that food inflation in actual fact went down between August 2016 and September 2016. But when we compare the September 2016 figure with the September 2015 figure, that's when we see a rise because of the base drift effect.
Now, what is actually accounting for this upward movement in imported non-food items?
We are saying the anticipated higher expectation of exchange rate changes. That is what is accounting, and we are also thinking because of the election fever, people are anticipating that prices will go up. So that is what is happening, and we think that it's speculation, mere speculation, that the exchange rate will be raised, and so the prices, so to be more expensive importing items.
Away from that, Minister of Trade and Industry Dr. Ekos Piu-Gabra says government, in collaboration with stakeholders, is making progress to develop and implement a policy for social and micro enterprises in the country. The policy, when it becomes operational, would go a long way to grow the enterprises, ultimately to the benefit of the economy at large. He revealed this at the launch of the Social Enterprise Activity Report. Sheila Tamaklo has the rest of the story.
Social enterprises are businesses that tackle challenges in the society to create jobs, but prioritizing the impact over profits. According to the Social Enterprise Activity Report, there are currently about 26,000 social enterprises operating in Ghana. About 100 of these enterprises sampled make over 8 million Ghana cedi every year. However, there's no policy regulating the sector, but the Minister of Trade and Industry, Dr. Ekos Piu-Gabra, said plans are underway to address the issue.
Well, I think the policy is still under development, and the studies that you've seen, the reports that you've seen or heard about are simply the building blocks of getting to a policy. You must study a situation, understand it before you try to either regulate for it or legislate for it. So we are at the stage of understanding and studying what kinds of social enterprises are in Ghana, who is behind them, how sustainable they are, how long they've been in existence, what sectors are they. This is what the report is about. Following that report, and in parallel, there's a policy development exercise going on involving the British Council and the Ministry of Trade and Industry, and which should also include other ministries like Education and Employment and Labour Relations, Ministry of Gender and Social Protection. And I think these particular ministries and some of the agencies under them, collectively, with the private sector and other non-governmental institutions of the British Council, can eventually propose a document that will become a policy for the country. And if in that policy there's a need for specific legislation or regulation, either to support, promote, or protect social enterprises, then we'll be happy to do that.
The Social Enterprise Activity Report highlights a positive outlook for the social enterprises in Ghana, with the current support systems by government and other development partners, including the British Council. The Director for British Council, Liliana Biglow, also said the role of social entrepreneurs in economic development cannot be overemphasized.
My belief is that sustainable economy and what follows global sustainability can only be shaped and will be shaped by business and entrepreneurship. But business and enterprise with a social twist. Businesses that create profit, but their key motivation is not maximizing income while disregarding everything else that goes on around them, but businesses that are motivated by the thrill of creating positive impact on the local community, on the country, and the rest of the world.
Social enterprise activities in Ghana is predominant in 5 sectors, namely education, agriculture, health, manufacturing, and services.
Now, players in the securities industry have highlighted public education as crucial in growing the capital market to the benefit of the economy. This came up at the 2016 Capital Market Investment Forum under the theme Unleashing the Potential of the Capital Market in Ghana. The event was organized by the Ghana Securities Industry Association as part of the 2016 Capital Market Week celebrations. Kukwa Apia reports.
The capital market is the part of a financial system involving raising of capital by dealing in stocks or shares, bonds, and other long-term investments. Notwithstanding the benefits of capital market investment to individuals, businesses, and the economy as a whole, majority of Ghanaians hardly patronize it. CEO of Frontline Capital Advisors, Clifford Impare, blamed this on the lack of education in an interview with Joy Business at the sidelines of the 2016 Capital Market Investment Forum.
The difficulties of investing in Ghana is the fact that everybody looks at investing on a short-term basis. And what we realize is that most people look at investments like they're putting money at the bank as opposed to having money that is going to be used for a long-term purpose. Education, maybe accumulating money for a purchase. And so we had to convince them that the packages they are getting, and some of those packages were substantial, some were as high as $500,000, maybe $1 million, they needed to put it in a safe place where they will look at it as a long-term investment, particularly because they were also being laid off. They needed to have a pool of capital that preserved the principal. And then if they wanted to spend the interest on the principal, they could do that so that their livelihood could continue. So that's what I'm talking about, education. People need to know the difference between investing and perhaps putting your money in a current account at the bank. And so they can then use that to build wealth, because investing is all about building wealth.
The 2016 Capital Markets Investment Forum focused largely on the role of government's fiscal policy in the development of the capital market to promote financial inclusion. The director of the Financial Sector Division of the Ministry of Finance, Magdalene Apinting, said they are working to push this agenda.
We are looking at a full-blown financial inclusion strategy that would look at the various pillars that we have identified. Some of the pillars include providing stability in the financial system. It looks at financial literacy. As you realize, we've spoken a lot about letting everybody know what capital markets are about. That is educating the public. This will feature very well in our financial inclusion strategy.
The 2016 Capital Market Investment Forum was organized by the Ghana Securities Industry Association, a self-regulatory and non-profit organization comprising firms on the capital market regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC.
Cement company Dangote has rejected accusations that its activities in Ghana are threatening the growth of the local cement industry. The local cement manufacturers, including Ghana Cement, Gasem, and Diamond Cement, are accusing the Nigerian company of engaging in unfair competition in its importation of the product. This, they argue, has negative implications not only for their businesses but for the economy at large, and therefore want government to urgently act to protect the industry. But the media relations manager for Dangote, Etonam Komla Boami, tells Joy Business their operations have rather inured to the benefits of consumers. He spoke with Kukuaban in Nigeria, where selected media practitioners are on a tour of Dangote's production plant with a production capacity of 12 million tons daily.
You do know that for the past 6 years, for example, that we came onto the Ghanaian market, we have brought lots of healthy competition. There were times in the history of Ghana that prices of cement would rise at any given time. When Dangote came onto the market, prices have stabilized for a long time now, and even now it is going down. Again, before now, nobody in Ghana knew that cement is measured in terms of the grade. Dangote came onto the market with the highest grade of cement, 42.5 R grade. We are prepared for every form of healthy competition.
There seem to be, some hue and cry about your operations. Does it bother you?
You see, when we see these sort of concerns coming up, we ask ourselves, are we working within the laws of Ghana? If yes, we are, then there's no cause for any alarm.
And that's all in business on the news. Many thanks for your time. For more business news, log on to myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Emmanuel Apuaji Riafe. More news coming up. Don't go away yet.